Okay.
Here we go. We're recording.
Okay. Okay. Welcome everyone to the January 10th meeting, 2022 of the Danbury Democratic Town Committee. My name's Andrea Gartner. I'm the chairman conducting this meeting. This is, if you're viewing this, it will be by way of recording on Zoom and posted to our website and our YouTube channel. So welcome anyone who might be watching us. And thank you, everyone. We do have a quorum. The meeting's called to order at 7:43. So I'd like someone to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will, could you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next up is, I can put the agenda up here, is our acceptance of the call of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Silva, seconded by Will Love. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we're moving to the public portion of the minutes of, of the meeting. I believe we have one member of the public wishing to speak. Is there anyone who wishing to speak? Okay, well. All right, I was hoping, Sydney, yeah, there you are, okay.
Hello?
There
Can
you
you hear
are. Yes,
Okay.
hi Sydney.
Sydney Almeida, 30 Hillside Avenue. I guess I'm speaking because I would like to be considered for a position on the Planning Commission. I don't know, I served a couple terms on the Zoning Commission. I have a background, 20 plus years in real estate and real estate sales and appraisal. I'm a landlord, investor, know all about planning, and figured it'd be a nice position for me to fill. So I submitted a letter to the mayor, the new mayor, expressing my desire to be on the Planning Commission. Hopefully he will be getting it soon or has gotten it. And I guess I'm asking for this body to also consider me and recommend me for the position. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sydney. Any other member of the public wishing to address the town committee? Any other member of the public wishing to address the town committee? Any other member wishing to address the town committee? Okay, so we will close the portion of our public speaking. Next up is the first is the treasurer's report. Sorry, I don't have the.
Now?
Yes, I think so.
Okay,
Did
can
you
hear me
do the
now.
roll?
I'm sorry, you're right, the roll. I didn't have it. in
I
front
got
of
it.
me. I'm so
I got it. I can see everybody in the participants list. So
the-
I have the attendance.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Joe. Will you do the roll call?
We're not doing the treasure, we're not doing the secretary's report.
We are, John. I misspoke before the roll was made.
I have the roll. We have all the participants on the right-hand side. And what's
Elena's
excellent. With that addition, I don't think I need to do it. We don't need to spend the time to go through it. I have everybody who's here in the roll list of participants and or on the screen.
And we have a quorum.
Yeah, we're well over a quorum. Yes.
Okay.
Attendance is high.
Thank you, Joe. Sorry
Yep.
about that, John. You're now up on the agenda.
Okay. Now, I emailed the report after I finally got the balances correct. I was in a hurry on this and doing a few other things, so I left off the fact that I got 2 uncashed checks that are out there, one for 1,900 and the other one for the rent that was paid but hasn't been cashed yet. The other thing I left off, and I usually in the past have made a note of this, is that we have an outstanding balance with Impulse Printing, which I negotiated to wait till later on. No payments being made in the short run until we have the money to pay or pay part of it. We've got a total of 3,100 that we still owe. I paid 1,900. That's one of the checks that's outstanding. And, that's the balance that we owe them, is 3,100. Otherwise, the numbers are correct. It's 6133. Whenever those 2 checks comes in, that's what the cash amount in our account is. And I'm going to be using that just to pay the rent and the utilities, because at some point in time, they cancel your electric and gas. And we've got a very, very good rent. We don't want to play games with that, because that's all he needs is an excuse to say bye-bye. So I think there's several of us were in good stead with the landlord, and let's not mess around with those bills.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Joe.
Mhm.
Mr.
Yes,
Treasurer,
Joe.
just to clarify. So if we were to deduct the outstanding checks, our balance would be something in the vicinity of $4,000,
Yes,
give or take. So we, in theory, could pay the printer right now, but structuring and negotiating our bill with our printer allows us some flexibility on carrying our costs going forward.
correct.
Okay, so we're not in debt. We're just trying to maintain our cash flow.
Yeah, it's called paying the bills that count
Yep.
now, as opposed to
Yep. Yep.
the bill that doesn't really count at this point. I didn't find
Well-
out about this until after Christmas.
But if she's willing to work with us, that works.
Yes.
As long as we
Yeah.
obviously make an effort to pay that in
Yeah.
short order. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, any questions for the treasurer? I see that some, maybe not everyone received the report.
Yeah, I just, Will just forwarded it to me.
Okay,
John
thank
had
you. I
my-
was just gonna bring it up. on
John
the
didn't
screen,
put
but-
the right email address for me. I don't know if you guys have a list that this way it can go to everybody every time.
Mhm. Okay. any,
Frank, what email are you using?
Frank Jr. for Danbury at gmail.com. He just did
Good.
Frank for Danbury. It's missing the junior.
Okay, cool.
Move we accept the treasurer's report.
Sure. A motion made by His Honor Iroquois to accept the treasury report. Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
Okay, Will seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Signify
Aye.
by accepting it. Okay, and the ayes have it. So our treasury report is accepted. Okay, so next up is the chairman's report. In addition to Mr. Almeida's request for our support in his pursuit of the planning commissioner seat, we do have a Board of Education vacancy that I just want to report back on that. But first of all, if it's okay with other town committee members, I'd like to submit a letter supporting Sydney's request to be named to the Planning Commission. Is that okay with everyone?
Madam Chair,
Need a motion?
Yes,
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion
so
that we
moved.
amend you can't. I'll make a motion, we amend our agenda to include an item for the chair to send a letter recommending Sydney Almeida, because
Second.
we don't currently have an agenda item pursuant to which we could make that motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Second.
That's Rich Molinaro, second. Any discussion? Okay, so all those in support of adding the recommendation of Sydney Almeida to the Planning Commission signify by saying, to the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, so the agenda item is to send a letter of recommendation supporting Sydney as an appointee to the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Coming from
Second.
the town committee. Moved by Jean Arequest, seconded by, I think that Helena, was that you? No?
I seconded it.
Oh, Julie. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any discussion? Okay, I would just like to comment that I served on the zoning commission with Sydney when he was an alternate and I was a commissioner. And I just think it's a great opportunity for us to have someone with Sydney's experience and professional background on the planning commission. Appointments to city commissions, whether we recommend a person to that seat or not is not always a guarantee, but I'm glad that Sydney has all of our support in pursuing that. So we'll send out a letter to the mayor's office supporting Sydney's request to be appointed to the planning commission. I don't know if it makes more sense to also send it to the commission chair, or this is solely at the pleasure of the mayor. I don't know, Joe DeSilva, if you have any.
Mayoral appointment with city council approval, I believe. Gene, that's correct. Right. Planning is subject to council approval.
Mayoral appointment, council approval.
Okay,
That's what
so
I thought.
I will send that letter to the mayor's office. All right, next is our Board of Education vacancy. We've reached out to people in the community interested in filling this. I will say I've been in communication with people, members of the Board of Education. This is a tough seat to fill. So I just I'm going to report that we've got a couple of considerations, but no one's yet committed. I do see both Joe DeSilva and Gladys Cooper are on the call. I thought I saw Kate earlier. Oh, and Kate Canetta. So I don't know if anyone from the Board of Ed wants to weigh in. I will. To them.
I could just give you the legal background. We recommend the Board of Ed will interview. The Board of Ed can appoint whoever they wish. The statute that controls does not require the appointment to be a Democrat, doesn't require the appointment to be anything in particular. Historically, with one exception, the board has always appointed from the party that resigned or gave up a seat. That one exception obviously occurred in 2017. And yes, we've obviously been speaking to Andrea about the appointment. Remember, we don't control the board. This vote will be 6-4 when it happens. And to be clear, this vote will not happen. Nothing is going to happen at the next Board of Education meeting, which is Wednesday evening, because the vacancy is that technically there is no vacancy yet. Joe Britton's resignation takes effect as of Friday of this week. So technically right now we have an 11 member board. There is no vacancy, but there will be one obviously at the end of the week, unless Joe wants to withdraw his vacancy and serve on the Board of Ed and Council.
You know,
That'll be a lot of fun.
I might want to just throw some gas on the fire and do that. So
I wouldn't wait while studying for the bar exam this summer. That'd be a load of laughs. But that's pretty much where it is, and obviously we'll have something more for the members soon.
So I will say again, having talked to some Board of Ed meetings, that we've had some candidate considerations, but we really haven't settled on anybody. And so if anyone on the town committee has a recommendation, if you're serving on the town committee and you are interested in being considered for this Board of Ed vacancy, please reach out to me, reach out to Joe DeSilva, or any other board members.
Yeah, reach out to Gladys. If you reach out to Gladys, she'll tell you the truth about serving on the Board of Ed.
Yeah.
Reach out to me. I'm going to lie to you and tell you it's not that bad to get you to commit. And then let you learn the reality later. I see George O'Loughlin smiling in the background because he knows better. It's only a couple meetings a month, guys. But let us know if you're interested. Thanks.
Any questions about the vacancy or the process from any members? Okay. So next is upcoming Democratic Town Committee elections. So I know from personal experience, like this is a regular occurrence every 2 years, but every 2 years it feels pretty darn new. So, I just thought we'd take time for this meeting to outline what the process is. So we are elected by ward. If you've gone on the Facebook page for the Connecticut Democratic Town Committees or talk to other people, the process for most of town committees in the state of Connecticut is through a caucus. We don't operate through a caucus. We do it through our ward system. So, and that calendar starts this week. So petitions are available beginning on Wednesday at the Registrar of Voters office to get signatures. The first order of business is to fill in a consent form, which Joan emailed me earlier, and I wanted to bring it up so that people could see it. So if I may, Vice Chair, while I'm navigating, bringing up that
Yep.
information, can you go into the process that
Absolutely.
starts on this Wednesday?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's for, I think everybody who's on here other than George was here to do this 2 years ago, but long story short, we all need to go out and get signatures. It's 5% of the Democrats in your district. That means it's a low of in the mid 80s for the 5th ward. It's 130 plus for the 6th ward. You guys are the highest voter reg district in town and the most Democrats. You can get your petitions as early as Wednesday, provided you submit your consent form to Joan between now and Wednesday. The consent form needs to have the name, address, signature, and all that information for all of the members of your slate. It's one piece of paper. You turn it into Joan, she will give you the petitions. You can copy the petitions. You have to make sure when you circulate your petition, only you may circulate your petition. There's a spot for name, signature, address, and date of birth. If somebody doesn't want to give you the date of birth, that's okay. Don't worry about it. We can figure that out later. You will every now and then reach someone who doesn't want to give you their date of birth. You have to get the back of it, has to be signed in front of a notary. So don't sign it until you're in front of the notary. I will happily meet with anybody from ward, not the 5th, and notarize. We'll meet at headquarters some night and I'll notarize 20 of them if I need to. Bob Godfrey's a notary as well. He usually comes down and notarizes mine. We'll get a voter list from Joan when we get our sheets. We can also obviously use CT-Ban. You can always call people and set things up, set up appointments, set up times, or you can just go out and knock a street if you want to. They're due back on the 26th of January. Don't sleep on this. Don't wait. It's a pain in the butt getting these signatures in the winter. It can take a long time. Sometimes you have to go back to somebody's house 2-3 times to catch everybody at home. If you wait until the last minute, you run the risk of not qualifying. You will also need a buffer. We need 87 or 89 in the 5th ward. We're going to turn in something more like 100 because you don't want to come up one signature short. There was a ward about 10 years ago that came up one signature short. It was considered a vacant election. There was nobody elected by way of the petition. When the town committee formed in March, we actually had to form our town committee, elect our officers, and then move to fill the vacancies in the 6th ward because it was considered a failure to elect. So make sure you get a buffer. If you need help, let us know. Only Democrats may sign your petition. Any Democrat can circulate your petition. If they're not from Danbury, the top of it needs to be filled out by their registrar in their town. In other words, if a friend from Bethel wants to circulate your petition for you in Danbury, they can. They have to take the petition form down to Bethel and have Wendy Cahill fill out the top of the form and certify they're a Democratic elector in Bethel. I'd advise you just don't do that. Circulate it yourself or have a friend or family member who's a Democratic elector in Danbury do it for you. They have to sign it themselves in front of a notary. Don't give it to somebody else and have somebody else fill out a signature for you. Don't give it to your husband or wife or your friend and say, here, go finish my sheet up. I got to stop. Just start a new sheet. You can turn in a sheet with 17 on one sheet and 5 on another. It's perfectly okay. I don't think I have a whole lot else, Andrea,
Okay.
unless people have questions.
I have, Joe.
Please, Joni.
Okay.
you're right. When people go out and, you'll have your walk list. If you have the same name, let me tell you, there's a couple of wards where you'll get like John Smith and John Smith at the same address. One's the father, one's the son. If they won't give you a birth date, mark down, father, son, so I can figure out who it is. You
Joni,
cannot get duplicates.
Joni, one thing, the dates of birth are in CT Van, so we can get you a date of birth later.
Yeah, but I need to know so that if somebody else comes in,
No, what I'm saying is we can get dates of birth. If we have blanks on dates of birth, we can get you that information before we turn
I
it
can
in.
get the information also. What I'm saying is there's a guy in Ward 6.
I know that.
Same name. If you got the father and I got the father also, one of us gets that name crossed off.
That's doubles. Yes. Joni's right. Be very careful and make sure you work amongst yourselves and communicate. You don't want to go to the same houses because Joan's absolutely right. You can't get the same signature, can't appear twice. It only counts one time.
And there's also someone over in Ward 3, a mother-daughter, same name.
Yep.
Obviously different birth dates. One is unaffiliated voter, one's a Democrat. Please, because, when it comes down to the day that they're turned in and people start calling me at 8 o'clock in the morning saying, how many signatures do we need? I don't know. It's too late. And yes, if you are having trouble, let me know. It's not beneath me to call my poll workers and say, hi, I need a signature. I can circulate a petition. I can get Joe to certify it or notarize it, or I can get Marge to do it. And again, the sooner the better. If you have questions, don't call me the day before they're due. You guys can reach me at home. You've got my cell phone number. It's on the instruction sheet. Find me. I'm willing to help you out, but just don't. 2 years ago, people started calling me at 10 o'clock in the morning saying, how many signatures do we need? Come on, guys. Got 7 wards.
And
Okay.
Joan, can you give us the names of the people that we got last time as well?
They're on file with the town clerk. I'll see if I can get them.
Okay, just because that's always a good starting point to start with the,
That's why I
Really
always
good
tell
idea.
people, make copies of it.
Yep.
And nobody does. I say, please make copies. So, yeah, I will see if I have time to grab them, and then I have to copy it and email them, but I'll try to get them to you. So anybody who wants that stuff, shoot me an email. It's my work address. Say, send me this because I'm liable to, forget it tomorrow. Yeah,
One more
thanks.
thing before I forget. Make sure you get your consent form in no later than this Thursday. If you don't get it in by this Thursday, you will be stuck until next Tuesday because City Hall is closed Friday and next Monday is a holiday.
So
You
that's
don't
a
want to
great
blow up
segue.
an entire weekend.
Except
Because
for
you-
except for one little item. And Joe, you need to clarify this for me. That's the template that you see up. I have sent the ward captains, except for Ward 6, because to John, with the names of the people who, as far as I know, it's in a Word document. You can change it, you can add to it, you can delete from it. Joe, true or false? Because the person who turns in the statement does not even have to be one of the candidates.
No, anybody can drop off
All
a
right.
consent form.
What would happen, because this will really irritate my coworker, if somebody says, I can't get to 3 other houses, but they can all get to town hall? Can they come to the registrar's office and sign it in front of me?
I don't think there's any legal impediment to that. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think there's a problem with that. It's probably not best practice, but there's probably nothing about that that's wrong.
I can't find anything that's wrong with it because it would have to.
I don't
be
think there's
turned
anything
in
wrong.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong.
So
Just-
this, so the form I have up for people who are going to join a slate is what was described. And there's 4 positions for the town committee. So if there's more than 4 people interested in serving on a ward, there will be more than one slate. And then if there's more than 4 people who have qualifying signatures within the 2 weeks and filed on time, then that ward will have a primary. And this is not anything that's unusual, even for us. The last primaries, I believe, were 8 years.
2016.
3 wards.
16,
yeah.
and don't forget.
2016.
6
the-
years ago. And
The
3 of them
slate
were-
that gets their signatures in first gets the top line.
Yes.
Also, date this. People don't always like to, Sign it like underneath your name or under the offices and team. But we're under, it says date of signature, date it. I can't, it has to be filled in, please.
Okay, so are
I'm
there
not
any
gonna fill it in.
questions from the town committee regarding the consent?
Call me if you have any questions. you could,
And then the
Mhm.
consent
You
form.
guys
is
can
what
usually
will
track me down.
The consent form is what will generate the petitions
yes.
that Joan will be putting together. Yes,
Yep.
Frank.
Joan, did you send, you said you were gonna send them out. I didn't see one in my
That's
email yet.
because I got a phone call right after I talked to you, and being a good registrar, I took the phone call. I'll get it out tonight. You'll have it in the
Okay.
morning.
Thank you.
I might not get it out until midnight, and I don't want to disturb. Oh, wait a minute, you're in Danbury now. Screw you. Like, get it right. No, I will get them out tonight. I sent them to
Yeah,
myself.
just a gentle reminder that we're recording this.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so
he
any,
accused me of interrupting his beauty sleep 2 years ago. I don't want to do that again.
okay, any questions regarding the process from now until Wednesday, January 26th?
Oh, yeah, and it is 4 o'clock. 1 minute after, I don't accept the petitions. I can't. Seriously.
Okay, so no questions. Okay,
Cool.
so that we can move on to our next agenda item, which is the the 2020 elections. I just put this on there because, as you know, every year is an election year. Given the consequences of our municipal election, we have to be very, we just have to be all in for all our candidates running for state office. It's also it's election year for registrar of voters too. So there will be some open houses, some open seats in the state level for Secretary of State and Controller. I believe all the other positions will be likely incumbents. So we will have some activity in and around convention time related to those two offices. Please let me know if you'd like to participate in the state convention. I will work directly with our Senate and legislature candidates to build out their delegates.
The good thing is only Rahab and Julie have delegates anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because
Ken's entirely in Danbury now, so that's just a town committee vote. Same as Bob and David.
Okay, yeah, that does simplify things.
You will need one, if I can interrupt, Madam Chair,
Absolutely.
for the new Fairfield. The new Fairfield district reaches down into Danbury now. So you might want to chat with the new Fairfield Town Committee Chairman to arrange for the delegates. You'll be getting the numbers, I assume, from State Central, Gina, if I'm right on that.
Yeah, in general, it's one
Yeah.
delegate in those
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, well, it's a lot bigger than it used to be.
Okay.
And we did lose the part of the Brookfield district that extended into Danbury is gone too. I'm hoping we can all get you, all of the maps are available to anybody. But there are significant changes in the makeup of the districts this year. Obviously, we did reapportionment. So that's that you still have that convention too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone want to add anything to the state process? That there is a question about the state convention date. I do have that calendar somewhere.
We know if there's gonna be an executive order and if it's gonna be in person or if it's gonna be virtual.
We do not know yet. We're still contemplating that. And it looks like we're trying to plan for May for a convention, as is in the past, but we will know probably in the virtual or in person or both.
Thank you.
Follow up on that, Gene? Do we need, legally, I think we have to do it in person, absent an executive order. And the governor's emergency powers expire on February 15th.
That's correct.
Bob, David, do we know if the governor's looking to extend any of those powers? Julie, anybody?
The last I heard from Speaker Ritter is that the governor has not, nor will he, ask us to extend the emergency powers. We may be looking at having to put some of the remaining executive powers into statute in the first week of the session, which doesn't begin until February 9th. So it's not going to be a lot of time. We're actually caucusing that whole issue when this week on Wednesday. House Democrats are.
Thanks,
Okay,
Bob.
so convention dates are set between May 31st and June 2nd, June 7th. So that's for our representatives. I don't know if that also includes the state offices. Jean or Joe, if you
It
could.
does.
It'll be around then anyway. It'll be the end of May. Give or
End of
take,
May, first week of June. Okay.
something like that, give or take.
Any questions regarding the
Um,
upcoming?
One thing on the state convention, Andrea,
Mhm.
if it's live, I would likely expect it to be a Friday night and Saturday because it is Senate and governor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, we'll see. Who knows with this virus? Okay, next up is state and local official reports. For tonight, I want to sort of start on the local level and go to the state level. Ryan Hawley has joined this meeting from the Zoning Commission, so I'll start with the Zoning Commission, move over to the Board of Ed, City Council, and then the state reports. So,
All right,
Ryan,
sure
yeah.
thing. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So I realized the last zoning report this town committee had was like back in October because in November it was a quick meeting, that type of thing. So just want to briefly touch upon some few highlights we've had. So back in November, we closed the public hearing on the Pacific House zoning change, which basically you all know it. They wanted to add the special usage to the CA 80 zone, which is where the Pacific House facility currently is located. And the commission voted 6-3 against the zoning change. And I really wanted to take the time to really just commend Chairman Haddad for the way he handled this whole process. We had, I think, 2 meetings that went into up to 2 in the morning. The other ones went to around midnight. And he made sure every single person that wanted to speak, regardless of other position on it, had the opportunity to speak. And that was a really good moment of leadership under him. And I just want to, I guess, kind of say personally why I kind of voted against this. Again, just speaking for myself, not the entire commission. I know this is like a commission report, but I feel like I just wanted to share this opinion with everybody. So I basically voted against this for 2 reasons. One, it was a very hard vote to ever make. I was kind of like finding myself in positions where I was like, I kind of regret putting myself in this position to have to make this vote. But the two reasons I boil down to, the first one being that I believe this could have been considered spot zoning, and that could have led down the process of appealing it and having a higher court throw away our decision on it. So I believe that the argument could have been made for spot zoning regarding this project based on the way the regulation was written. And the second reason was that I don't believe 1 acre of land is going to be solving the homeless issue that our region has. If we want to actually put work towards solving this issue in the best way of helping the unhoused people in this area, we need to have a more comprehensive approach, not a Band-Aid solution like this. And I said this during the zoning meeting, and I'll say it again here. I believe that this type of transitional shelter style model, the way that it was presented, it sounds great. I believe it could be done citywide, similar to the way that it's done in Stanford. So I personally believe it should be allowed citywide, not just on this one little piece of land of the 45 square miles Danbury has. So that was November. And then in December, Ted Haddad, Rick Jowdy, and myself were sworn in as zoning commissioners. We have 3 seats on the zoning commission now, and we have Olga Mejia. She is our zoning alternate. And we miraculously elected Ted as our chairman again. And I really like that because even though we sit in the minority, we still have this kind of, we have control. And 2, I was trying to hint at the lack of partisanship that this commission has with most matters. We have 3 seats, yet we still have control of the zoning commission. And that was kind of crazy to be part of. I don't know what happened there, but I look forward to serving these next 2 years under Ted's leadership. And yeah, and then up next is our meeting tomorrow at 7:30. It's still on Zoom. And at this meeting, we'll be electing our vice chair because the last meeting we had, it was 4-4 because we had one Republican missing and only the regular seated members can vote on the chairman. So one Republican was missing. And right now it's between Candace Fay and Rick Jowdy. So we're going to be doing the vote again on that. So see where that goes. And then tomorrow we also have 3 public hearings. We're hearing from the city of Danbury. There, with some state things, we have to change some of our regulations in terms of opting out parking requirements, and they're doing some other things for the planning department. And then we're also hearing a revision to the master plan for the reserve, and we're also doing a liquor license for downtown 11 Cafe and Bar at 11 Ive Street. So yeah, that's my report.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for that. Yeah, one of the bigger upcoming projects now is a new planned development for the west side, right over by Westcon on Mill Plain. 7:30 is the zoning commission meeting, and I think the details are on the city website if you want to follow along. Okay. Next is Board of Ed. If someone wants to, Gladys, you're here as the chair if you want to report back, or Kate Canetta as the vice.
I have no problem reporting. If I go off and on, just let me know if you can't hear me. Number one, everyone knows that I'm no longer the chair. I served 2 years as chair of the board. Now we have a new chairperson. We have new board members. Most of them we have met. And I think as a group, my main concern as a group of Dems on the board that we were not talking together as a group. Especially items on the agenda that we needed to discuss. And I felt like as chairperson and a member that we were not connecting with how the agenda was going and things that was coming out. So, we settled that problem. So we will be meeting and caucusing before our board meetings to sort of make sure that we're all on the same page. Okay. So, I think that's good. We're getting ready. Everyone know that we have a new superintendent. I think he's doing an excellent job. The last 2 years has really been hectic. And even with the virus now and being a new superintendent and, all the people that are out sick and everything, I give him credit. I wouldn't want to be in his position, even for $300,000 a year. But, we make decisions for the best interest of the children. Next coming up is budget, to talk about our budget and sort of really get people familiar with the budget and understand the budget. The Board of Ed, as I say, that people that want to come on the board, it's not 2 meetings. Come on. It's a lot of meetings per month. We have a lot of committees. And I would advise anyone, and I know Mr. O'Loughlin is sitting back there, that you have to devote a lot of time to it. And sometimes you have to take off time that you really don't have to take off from work to participate. We can't always fit things into your schedule. So, just think about people that want to come on the board. If you have the time, good. I don't want to discourage anybody, but you have to look at your own household and what you need to do. So that's just about all that I say. I certainly would like to thank Andrea for all the little notes she used to send me when I felt like I was standing out there all alone by myself and I didn't have any support, because I know a lot of you don't want to hear this. I've been out there. This is my 31 year on the board. And as an African-American woman, when I first came to Danbury, it was totally different. And I don't see myself any different now in 2022 as to how people see me and look at me, and they still see me, not chairperson of the board. They see me as an African-American woman. And until we can change our attitudes and work with one another and not trying to always over talk one another, then I think we will have a better city.
Thank you, Gladys. Thank you, Gladys. Any other comments from Board of Education members? Anything to add?
There's nothing anybody could add to that. Let's stop there.
Okay. Next, City Council, which with our diminishing numbers on the City Council, we have Farley, Joe, and Rich here. I know, Joe and Rich were at the City Council meeting. Prior to the City Council, the most recent City Council member meeting, the only way to participate as a member and as a member of the public was to show up in person. So there wasn't a full 21 member council. There was 16. Unfortunately, Farley couldn't attend because of COVID restrictions and quarantining. Farley, if you want to start maybe by mentioning what you tried to do to be able to attend the meeting. I know you worked with Corporation Council.
Sure. I'll try to be brief here. Actually, large part thanks to my partner in the fourth ward here. We had this COVID emergency, and I didn't want to expose any one of the council members or anyone else attending the meeting, members of the public. Joe pointed out that Governor Lamont's executive order, specifically Executive Order 9H and then 9H-1, permitted members of such boards and commissions to request remote access to attend the meeting. That executive order was one of the ones that expired in September. But Bob Godfrey, being very helpful as he always is, reached out to some folks and got back to me, and it happened to be that the governor had signed it into a bill in the summer where we could make a request. So, in order to protect everyone at the meeting, since there was these capabilities, and I requested that I should have remote access into the meeting. That request was denied by the administration. A couple of paragraphs of why they wanted to deny it. It could have just been as simple as providing me with a cell phone, and I could have been part of the meeting. We all have iPads that the city issued, and we have them at home. So there could have been a way around it. I think it could have been handled a little bit different. So yes, I was denied access to the meeting at that point. One of the things that, aside from that, that we have been discussing, some of us on the city council, is the very first meeting, there were members of the public that were not allowed to speak on the department reports that have always been a numbered agenda item on the city council agenda. If you look back to the December meeting, there was a number near the department reports, and it happens to be that department reports is where most members of the city council ask questions of certain departments, police, public works, health director, etc. And we always get good answers to many of the questions that we have during that session. I've also been on the council for nearly 2.5 terms now, and members of the public routinely addressed those department reports and had certain questions. It wasn't like they were answered right away, but they did bring them up during their public participation portion. During the first meeting, there were some members of the public that were shut down and not allowed to speak on department reports. It happened again at the most recent meeting when someone asked a question on department reports and they were shut down as well. And then the department reports are no longer a numbered agenda item on the agenda. I applaud Joe Britton for making his first time out of the gate with comments and questions. And Joe went right at that and said, look, we get 2 or 3 people if we're lucky to participate in these meetings. These meetings, which used to be, if anyone here, those of you who were around then, I wasn't, but I've seen them. The agendas back in the Mayor Eriqua's administration were dozens and dozens of agenda items. And for instance, the last one I think was 9 items. And we have just 1 or 2 people commenting on these issues. We should be promoting people having discussion on topics that are in front of the city council. In fact, the charter states matters before the city council, and department reports have always been a matter before the city council because we actually have to vote to accept them. So that's one of the things that is going on right now within the city council. So I'll try to. That was not as brief as I wanted to keep it, but I hope that was information.
Thanks, Farley. Richard, Joe, anything to add?
I don't think I have anything. Joe did an outstanding job. I was very proud of being associated with Joe. But this not being able to remotely tune in or be part of this meeting is a situation that I'm looking into based on my inability to get to meetings because of my inability to walk. So I'm looking at it through a different aspect of a Disability Act and forcing them to have that option available to members of the city council. There were 5 people out. It wasn't just Farley. The sad part is we have no idea who's vaccinated or who's in danger of catching the virus or who is spilling the virus out there. We have no idea. We're kept in the dark totally. And so when you go to these meetings, you have no idea who you're communicating with. And the way things are going, we're not a hell of a lot better off than we were a year ago. And, something has to be addressed. So like I said, I'm looking into it. As far as agenda stuff goes, there really hasn't been anything to speak of. But that issue of not being able to ask a question about a department report is asinine. And I'm sorry, it's on the agenda. It's part of the report. And people have been doing it for the last 2 years.
Hey,
One of
Rich.
the things that people ask about all the time, or at least prior to this last meeting, was the homeless situation. And most of that was never on the agenda. It was always in Kara's report, but people addressed it anyways.
Hey, Rich,
Yeah,
who said somebody couldn't speak to a department report?
Dean.
Les
The
Pinter. You should watch.
mayor.
I would encourage everyone to watch the video from the city council meeting.
He rudely stopped this gentleman from speaking mid-sentence. And then he deferred to the city council. But it was him who brought it up.
And yeah.
Hey, Rich, and I'm not sure exactly. I'll leave it to you and Farley to puzzle out exactly the procedure. Maybe you force them to vote on it. Maybe you make a motion to overrule the chair and force them to vote on it.
Offline discussion, right?
Actually, you know what? I'm happy if they see that in the video. And maybe I'll go to the next meeting and try to talk and see if he wants to shut me down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
or
Joe,
go
I'm
to the
coming with
next
you.
meeting and challenge that because
Because that's nonsense.
No, because the two people were shut down, and even, I don't know, Joe, if you want to speak to your attempt to bring it up and what was, that's when, Corporation Counsel went to the mic to explain the reasoning behind it.
The council can overrule the corporation council. So the city council can overrule the corporation council as well.
Yeah.
They won't, but force them to vote on it.
Yeah, when I asked Les, basically all he articulated was that the reason why they had taken away the agenda item from the department reports was because the intention of having the department reports on the agenda are like solely for information and not as an actionable item, which I thought that might have been a little
Right.
bit of a,
Although they're actionable if you act to accept them.
Yeah, we have to vote to accept them. So
Right.
it seemed contradictory. but
It's
May
a
I
poor
just-
excuse, but no surprise.
May I just add that some of the most vibrant discussion during council meetings occurred during departmental reports.
Yeah.
That's the point of them.
That's true.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'll talk to Farley and Joe and see what we can do.
Okay, Rich, I'll reach out to you as well, okay?
And by the
Okay.
way, Rich, can I just, Madam Chair, I'm sorry to
Sure.
say this, but on behalf of Rich, but everyone else too. There's 21 members of that city council. The city of Danbury should require the city council members to identify whether they've had 2, 3, 1 shot, whatever, or no shots for the benefit of the other people that are participating in public, in their meetings and in other activities associated with the city council. It's only for, it's a moral obligation. Aside from that, I don't want to get into that, but the bottom line is it's for the protection of people who have underlying conditions. And it's abhorrent to me that people can't disclose that they either have shots or don't have shots for the benefit of the people who have underlying conditions who sit on the same body among them.
Andrea, and does, we by law, well, it was required of all department heads to submit to the human resources copies of people's form, that you get from the vaccination. And if any employee in Danbury is not vaccinated, they must wear a mask at all times. So I agree. Okay, you're on the city council, you're in City Hall. If you're not vaccinated, you better have a mask on. And I don't think it's wrong to ask an elected official if they are vaccinated or not, period, end of discussion.
If you're not vaccinated, not only wear a mask, get tested and wear a mask.
That's
And
right.
don't come in my office.
We
Thank
had
you.
to submit something last year when I was a city councilman, if I remember correctly. We had to submit something. So you can't tell me they don't have it on file.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of that going on. As a matter of fact, I just emailed and didn't get an answer back. Our email system's been kind of funky, but I asked if we have to let them know who has boosters. But they, guys, get vaccinated, especially city, for heaven's sakes, you're an elected official, get vaccinated.
Okay, thank you, city council members. Anything else to add from the city council perspective?
Not on my end.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next up we have our state legislators. Representative Godfrey, will you start?
And Happy New Year to you and everybody here tonight. It's 2022, and as it is the beginning of every year, it's an election year. So we're all looking forward to going through the filings and the fundraising and the campaigning and the conventions and the town committee meetings to get forward. We're very fortunate in Danbury. We've got some great incumbents. Every one of us is running again. And we've already begun working with certainly on the House side with the House Democratic Campaign Committee. We'll be putting together all of those campaigns, and everybody keep your wallets out, because we'll be all hitting you up for campaign contributions in the very near future. We've got to raise a goodly amount of money. You know, I haven't looked. It's somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000. 150 of them from Danbury. All of that kind of goes into effect. We'll be getting that information to everybody very, very soon. But we're ready to go. Kind of officially, of course, the General Assembly goes back into business on February 9th, which is kind of late. The House Democrats are caucusing Wednesday to begin to talk about our plan for the year. And unsurprisingly, all of the consequences of the COVID pandemic are kind of issues 1, issue 2, and issue 3. The basic question we're going to be just talking about is, do we open up the Capitol? Is that basic a question, or we do some kind of virtual meetings like we did last year, which worked out pretty well. But it's you know, it's just not the same as everybody has learned in the last almost 2 years now. As I mentioned earlier, the last news I got from Speaker Ritter was that the governor did not intend to ask to extend his emergency powers. Obviously, if things get even crazier with the spread of Omicron or perhaps new variants, that could all change. But we're going to be looking to move very quickly on placing about 10 different items that are still up under the governor's emergency declarations to move them into statutes. The work on that has already begun on the caucus level. We'll be looking at COVID in schools. We'll be looking at COVID in nursing homes. We'll be looking at COVID in prisons, in universities and colleges, and how to respond. Continue to beat the drum, get vaccinated. Joni, you're absolutely right. Get vaccinated. It's 3 shots. Wear a mask indoors in public. Wear a mask outdoors in public in crowds. Wash your hands a lot. Don't cough on people. Some very simple things, but you know, I'm getting daily reports about COVID-19 from the administration, and somewhere between 78% of the new infections, the deaths, are from people who have not been vaccinated, and especially people who just chose not to get vaccinated, not because they have a particular real medical issue that they have to deal with, like a suppressed immune system. So that continues to be a big part of the fight. We already have a budget. We'll probably need to do some adjustments to that, but they are just adjustment. This is the short session. We start in February, we end at the beginning of May. It's only 3 months basically. And we'll have to try and get a lot accomplished. Some of the other consequences of COVID that we're going to be dealing with. I'm on the Judiciary Committee, as you know. One of the national phenomena that has arisen out of this is the spike in juvenile crime and especially in car thefts. And it's not something unique to Connecticut. It's something that's happened nationally, and no one has quite come up with an explanation why it's happening. That certainly not one that has satisfied me. Our court system has already made incredible changes and quickly to deal with some of the issues between arrest and arraignment. But we have had a task force working on this last summer. They will be reporting later this month, beginning of February, and the Judiciary Committee is going to be taking that up. One of the other issues I'm personally involved in, there's a group of us who are very much afraid that the United States Supreme Court has completely gone off the rails and will start to leave the issue of women's reproductive rights to states. Connecticut is in a very good place. We codified Roe versus Wade like 30 years ago. I was a part of that, the drafting. But we're under the leadership of State Representative Matt Blumenthal of Stamford, we're actually going to be meeting for the first time virtually tomorrow to begin Connecticut's defense of women against the Trump cult / Republican Party attack on women and voting rights and all of the other corrupt activities that the other party is getting increasingly involved in and is becoming increasingly their point, their kind of existential reason to exist. We've got a tremendous fight ahead of us, both on the state and federal levels, as well as the local coming up in 2022. Those are some of the big things. We'll have a better report for you once we hear what the governor's going to ask for. And I'm hoping we'll once again get through a short session very successfully and be ready for elections by the time we adjourn in May. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Okay, any questions for Bob? Okay, thanks, Bob. I think we had David Arconti earlier, but he's not here. I'm going to move to Ken Gucker, who in an earlier conversation, Ken, you were on the phone all day. So here you're still, now you're being asked to talk even more. So the floor is yours. Oh, did he leave?
Ken's not on the call.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't see him in the participants list. I did not have him as present earlier.
Oh,
either.
okay. His name just popped up on my screen, so I just thought he made an assumption he was there. Okay.
If anybody
Senator
sees him, let me
Julie-
know so I can mark him present.
Okay, no, he's not here. Okay, Julie, Senator Kushner, news from the Senate, and you have some news to share about your reelection campaign.
Yes, thank you. So I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. Bob gave you a rundown about what's expected in terms of reconvening the legislature on February 9th. It is a short session, and so the pace is going to be very intense. As chair of the Labor Committee, there are a number of issues that we're going to be following up on, looking back to last session, things that need to be reviewed and make sure that we're still taking care of those people who have been suffering with COVID. And so there are a few things that I should just make sure everybody saw. It was in the news a lot, but two big programs that I had worked on have gone into effect as of January 1. The first being the Paid Family Medical Leave Act. And it's very exciting that people will begin getting benefits retroactive to January 1. In the next week or so, the first participants will get their benefits. We know that in December, about 5,000 people applied for paid family leave in January. So it's proof that this is an incredibly important program for people. And we're excited that it's taking off. The one thing that I think people should know is that a lot of folks who are now contracting COVID-19 or dealing with family members that have contracted COVID-19, the ruling of the authority, of the paid leave authority, and their interpretation of the statute is that unless you've been hospitalized or you're taking care of someone who has been hospitalized, that we are not going to be paying paid leave for those illnesses, because just like you would not get paid leave if you were staying home for a week with the flu, or even 2 weeks, it is not considered a serious health condition. I know that sounds a little harsh given the horrors of COVID-19 that we have been dealing with, but I think that the authority, that is their interpretation and the way they will be handling claims for paid leave. On that note, I do want to say that I've been in conversations with my co-chair from the Labor Committee, and we are looking into whether the state of Connecticut should adopt a program to help families who are in this situation where they have to stay home from work to care for a loved one or to care for themselves or to isolate after a positive test. And clearly, we have ARPA funds, we have still actually some CARES Fund monies that are in the budget. we want to make sure we're taking care of working families during this crisis of this global pandemic. So that's something we will be discussing leading up to the beginning of the session in February. The other program that started on January 3rd is the Essential Workers COVID Relief Fund. And that's based on language that we got into the implementer last session. And there's $34 million that has been allocated from ARPA funds to help folks, essential workers who are on the front lines and, you know, either contracted COVID or lost their life to COVID. There's additional death benefit for anyone who qualifies. There's out-of-pocket expenses for medical and lost wages can be covered out of this fund as well. So it's, you know, something we felt very committed to, and I'm very happy that it's in place now. It's being run through the controller's office and a third-party administrator. So if anyone has questions about that, please get in touch with me, but it is something that we were able to do for essential workers. Having said that, I think for the Labor Committee, one of our big topics will be to address pandemic pay. We still have not addressed that issue. It was part of a bill, an omnibus bill that we introduced last session. Unfortunately, it did not make it across the finish line. I know that there have been negotiations with state employees about pandemic pay as part of their regular contract negotiations with the state. But there has been really no discussion as of yet about, with the governor's office, I should say, as of yet, about essential workers who worked either in the private sector or in a municipality and a quasi-public. And that is still something we need to address. I feel like it's very serious that we held parades for essential workers. We put signs out in our yards saying they're our heroes, but we did not figure out how to get them heroes pay or hazard pay for the time that they were working while we were mostly staying at home safe and sheltering at home. So I think that's a big issue that we will be looking into again this session. So that there will, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot that we have to get done. I say unfortunately because we'll have a very short amount of time to get it done. It's going to be very intense, but you know, I'm looking forward to the beginning of the session. I should note that our committee has been working all year round because we have a responsibility for 2 task forces that have been meeting and will be reporting to the General Assembly before the session starts. And one is the task force that is studying the retirement issues for state workers, the retirement cliff that is approaching in June 2022. We also are looking at salary compression issues and healthcare costs for our managerial employees. That task force has been meeting and will have a report before session. And the other task force is a task force to study relief for victims of cancer victims that are firefighters. We know there's a really high incidence of cancer amongst firefighters. We've tried to address it in the past, but we're aware that our efforts have fallen short, and we're looking at what needs to be done to make sure that we are living up to our obligation to our public servants who, you know, save lives every day and are risking their own lives. And so that study task force will also be making its report to the General Assembly. The other committee that I'm on that meets all year round is appropriations, and we have lots of meetings and reports on how COVID monies were spent, reports on you know, current activities in different agencies of the state. It's a great committee to be on because we really keep abreast of how the appropriations we're making, how they're being spent, and we work very hard to stay on top of each agency. So, so there's been a lot of, sorry about that, there was a little fly. There's been a lot of work even while we've been out of session, but we all know that it's going to be very intense in just a few short weeks. As for my campaign, I am going to be announcing my candidacy later in the month, and you should all be seeing there will be an email sent to you all indicating how you can support my campaign for re-election. And I want to say that being the state senator for Danbury and all of the 24th district has been an incredible privilege. I feel like I've met so many really wonderful people And there are many, many times when I'm in a position to help someone, either a constituent in need or an organization that's looking for support from the state, and then working on all the legislation that we've passed. It's an amazing thing to be a state senator, to be an elected official. I know that all the elected officials from Danbury that have spoken already tonight, I'm sure, share this view that it's a great privilege. And so I look forward to your support in my reelection. So thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Julie. Any questions regarding Senate matters from anyone on the town committee or guests? Okay, thanks, Julie. Let's see, next on the agenda, the next regular meeting for our town committee is Monday, February 14th at 7:30. We'll see how, what Zoom conditions are doing. I mean, COVID conditions, whether we'll be conducting in person, hybrid, or exclusively via Zoom. I'm going
Madam
to,
Chair?
Yes.
Not that, I don't know how significant it is for most people, but it is Valentine's Day that day.
Oh, yeah, good point. Okay.
Apologize. Sorry.
Yeah, so, okay, so we'll reschedule for another, maybe we'll just move it to that Tuesday, but we'll look at the calendar, so.
I don't know about anybody else, but all my sweethearts are here, so.
Hey,
And we love the party. We're very sorry, Rich.
hey, Roberto, it's dark chocolate, please.
I remember
Okay,
from last
very
year.
good point. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks for mentioning that. Okay, so I'm just going to share the other list of dates we have.
Andrea, one quick thing. I just noticed you have the petition dates due to the town clerk. They don't go to the town clerk. They go to
Okay.
me.
Sure. I think that was on last time that.
Yeah, it says DDTC petitions to be filed with town clerk by 4 PM on the 26th.
Okay.
Whoa, they have to be
So
to me.
please, yeah, please note that.
Because if you take them to the town clerk and she gets them to me at 1 minute after, I can't accept them.
Okay, so
Okay, thank you.
thanks. So there's just a list of city meetings. As Ryan mentioned, there's a zoning commission meeting tomorrow. Wednesday, the petitions are available from Joan for the town committee slates. There's a Board of Ed meeting at 7 o'clock. I don't know how you guys are you doing that all through Zoom? And is there public participation? Joe, do you know? You're muted, yeah.
Say that again.
Regarding Board of Ed on Wednesday, is it
Board of Ed meetings will be live.
In person?
They're in person. Committee, generally speaking, our committee meetings have been remote. They've been by Zoom. But the Board of Ed meetings themselves have been live, and it is my understanding the chair's expectations they'll be live this week in person at Beaverbrook. Actually, that's important. They will be at Beaverbrook at the Administrative Center, not at the Black Box Theater at the high school where we met for several months.
And I can just jump in and confirm real quick that I did speak with the board chair about this and suggested that it might not be in our best interest to be live, and that was pretty much rejected out of hand. So I know that I did advocate strongly that maybe we make a virtual option available to our older board members, just because their risk is much greater than anybody else. They are mandating masks, but that's about as far as it goes. And I don't know that the meetings will actually be open to members of the public to come in. So they definitely are still accepting comments via the email address, which is, for those who might be interested, DPS_public comment_BOE at danbury.k12.ct.us. And I will throw that in the chat.
That chat, thanks.
And on that point, if I can just reiterate from earlier in the discussion, it is now state statute. It's a state law that says any member of any public agency, with the exception of the General Assembly, we won't go into that right now, that wants to participate in a meeting electronically must be allowed to do so. There's no option, there's no time limit, there's no particular electronic means that's required. It can be as simple as being on a speaker cell phone.
Bob,
So
could
so-
you forward that act to me, or the act number to me?
it's
When you get a moment.
Senate Bill 1202, which is, it's in the budget implementer.
It's in the implementer? Okay.
And because Farley and I went back and forth for the course of a day, parsing this out. And I'm very angry that the Trump party mayor said, no, we won't observe state law here in Danbury. We'll do it the way we feel like it. I'm very angry about that. So thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, let me get back to that screen. Okay, let's see. Okay, so other meetings include, so Monday is January 17th in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Day. I don't know, generally on our agenda in January, there is a program that the church has, New Hope Baptist usually has on Martin Luther King Day. So I don't know if, Gladys or Glenda, if you can speak to if that program's happening this year. I just figured with COVID, I didn't want to list it and then have it not be happening.
Right now, Andrea, I can tell you, I had a discussion with the pastor, and again, because of COVID, if he was to do anything, he was going to get back to me on last Friday. If he was going to do anything, it will be virtual. And since he did not get back to me and letting me know how he was going to set up and plan this, because we've always did a program at the church for Dr. Martin Luther King. And I just assume right now he could not get everything together as for the technical part to put on a program for Monday for Dr. King.
Okay.
So I would say right now, no.
Okay.
Nothing comes out of New Hope.
Thank you, Gladys. And if anything changes, let me know and
I
share
will let you know.
information.
Yes.
Thank you. On next week on Thursday, the 20th, there is a kickoff for Julie's campaign at the Patriot Garage. Again, Julie mentioned you'll all be getting information about that. And then the rest of it is just outside of the petitions being filed with Joan on the 26th is just a schedule of meetings. As of now, I think the Hat City Ball is planning on meeting. This is for the museum on February 11th, is planning on meeting in person, but I think that could potentially change. So
I just heard from them that they're going to do a drive-through pick up your meal event again, like last year.
Okay.
They're not going to do the ball.
Okay. All right. Hot off the press.
Well, I don't know. Roberto's really involved there. He might have heard something else, but I heard that just the other night.
Roberto, anything different than what Julie said? From the museum and the Hat City Ball?
I think he's doing
muted.
double duty at his son's basketball game.
Okay.
So he may not have been able to hear that.
Yeah, that's probably my guess. Okay. So that's any other important dates or meetings. There's one that Ryan Hawley sent to me. Ryan, are you still on? Do you want to speak to that? I can bring up the flyer.
Yeah, I'm still on. Yep, on January 24th, there is a virtual event regarding affordable housing. I do believe it's including like a survey portion of it. It was just forwarded to the members of the commission from the city. And it's a public event, and I think it's an important thing we shall be part of.
So it was forwarded to you. So you're just making that, yeah, let me see if I can grab that. Just bear with me. So many windows open.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. It's a virtual public workshop for Danbury's affordable housing plan. It's on January 24th from 6 to 8, and there's like a Zoom link on the invite.
Okay, let's see. it's gonna look like this, and I can send it to everyone, so. Monday, the 24th. I don't know if you want to just grab from your screens now, the information. See if I can put it in the chat. No. Okay, I
Move
will
it up a
send
little
this.
because some people could use the QR code, take a picture of it.
Mhm. So there's a survey and then there's a link to the Zoom. Okay, and I will send that out to all the members. Okay, that's it. Any other important dates to share? All right, so then the next agenda item is adjournment. If there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by John Goliatino, a second by Will Love. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it, and we are
Good night, all.
adjourned at 9:03. And that's it, everyone. That's